Michael Bloomberg says he wouldn't want the reporters at his news service to give him bad press if he decides to launch a presidential bid. The former New York mayor made his debut in Iowa last week. In an interview with local radio, he was asked about how Bloomberg News would cover his potential candidacy. Here's what he had to say.
We've always had a policy of we don't cover ourselves. I happen to believe in my heart of hearts, you can't be independent, and nobody's going to believe that you're independent. And quite honestly, I don't want all the reporters I'm paying to write a bad story about me. I don't want them to be independent.
A former Bloomberg News employee says that rhetoric has implications for the First Amendment. In an op-ed for the Washington Post, Kiely writes her former boss still doesn't seem to understand how journalism works. And Kathy joins me now from Columbus, Missouri. She's the Lee Hills Chair in Free Press Studies at the Missouri School of Journalism. Kathy, thanks so much for joining us.
Happy to do so.
You write that 2 years ago, you, quote, walked away from a good job as a politics editor at Bloomberg News. Can you walk us through your decision to do so, and did you get any criticism for your choice?
It was a difficult decision. I was working with some really great journalists. I very much enjoyed what I was doing. But when Mayor Bloomberg last thought he might run for president, he leaked a story to the New York Times. And I was an assignment editor on the Bloomberg Politics page, and I was trying to decide what we were going to do, and I was told basically that we were not going to cover Michael Bloomberg the way we would cover any other potential candidate of his stature. And, I've worked in this business for a long time. I've covered politics for a long time, and I just felt that that wasn't right. And so I decided to leave. I got a lot of support, actually, from people in my profession. I don't think higher-ups at Bloomberg were too happy, but I actually think most people understood the decision I made, and it was really gratifying how much support I got from other members of the media.
And in your op-ed, you say, quote, for someone who is holding himself out as a political alternative to President Trump, Bloomberg sounds remarkably like his brassier Manhattan neighbor. What similarities are you drawing there, Kathy?
Well, I think that obviously Michael Bloomberg has not been as damaging to the press as Donald Trump. But I think what he is saying when he says, I don't want my reporters to be independent and I don't think they can be independent covering me, that is a view of the press that, to me, is as cynical as Donald Trump's. And, I've been a reporter for many, many years and an editor for many, many years. And so I think I have a certain expertise. And I feel very strongly that the press can cover, and even Michael Bloomberg's own reporters can cover him independently if he will let them. And I think by publicly suggesting that they can't, he feeds a view of journalism that is very damaging, because journalism is a pillar of our democracy. It is why it is enshrined in the First Amendment, the right to a free press, because the founders understood that the press is an important check on power. Michael Bloomberg is a powerful man who may want to become even more powerful. And when he says he doesn't want to be covered in the same way that he would want other people covered, I think that is a real problem. Michael Bloomberg can do what he wants with his own private company, but if he is going to put himself out as a public figure who wants to potentially swear to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, then I think his views about the First Amendment deserve to be scrutinized. And I say that as somebody who has been a political reporter and a political editor.
Well, that has, though, been the criticism, as you well know, of your point of view from people who say that what Michael Bloomberg does with his own business, his own private company, is his to decide. What's your response to that?
Well, it certainly is. But if he's going to run for the highest office in the land or any public office, then his decisions are going to be scrutinized and should be scrutinized with a very different lens. So what I'm being critical of is not what Michael Bloomberg, the private businessman, wants to do, but Michael Bloomberg, the potential president of the United States.
All right, Kathy, thanks very much for your perspective. Really appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for your time.